What is something that you swear happened, but you have no proof and nobody believes you? My neighbor Mrs. Chen had this tiny garden gnome that she absolutely hated. Every time I walked past her house, she'd complain about how her late husband bought it and she couldn't bring herself to throw it away. The thing was hideous, bright red hat, creepy grin, holding a tiny fishing pole. She'd go on these rants about how it clashed with her beautiful roses and made her yard look like a trailer park. One Tuesday morning around 7 a.m., I'm walking my dog Cooper when I see Mrs. Chen dragging this huge black trash bag to the curb. She's struggling with it because she's like 80 years old and the bag looks heavy. She spots me and grins, wiping sweat from her forehead, saying she finally got rid of that ugly gnome and feels like a huge weight is off her shoulders. She actually does a little victory dance on her front porch. I ask if she's sure about throwing it away since it was her husband's. She nods firmly and says Harold would understand. Holding on to things that make you miserable isn't healthy. She seems genuinely happy about it for the first time in months. She even mentions planning to plant new flowers where the gnome used to sit. That afternoon around 3 p.m., I'm walking Cooper again when I notice something weird. The gnome is back in her garden. Exact same spot next to her rose bush, same chipped red hat, same stupid smile, same tiny fishing pole positioned at the same angle, like it never left. Even the dirt around it looks undisturbed. I knock on her door thinking maybe she had second thoughts and fished it out of the trash. Mrs. Chen opens the door looking genuinely confused when I ask if she changed her mind about throwing out the gnome. She tilts her head and says, "What gnome? I don't have any garden decorations. Never have." Her tone is completely sincere, not like she's lying or embarrassed. I point to her yard and she follows me outside. When she sees the gnome, her face goes completely white. She starts shaking and backing away from it, saying that thing was never mine. I would never buy something so creepy. Where did it come from? She looks terrified, like she's seeing a ghost. Here's the really weird part. I pull out my phone to show her the photo I took that morning when she was throwing it away. Hello, ghost. Say douse to my super part. Like they 50 fram. I always take pictures of Cooper on our walks for Instagram. The photo clearly shows her dragging the trash bag to the curb, but when I zoom in on her garden, there's no gnome visible anywhere, just empty space next to the rose bush where new soil has been turned. She calls her daughter Lisa crying, saying someone broke into her yard and planted this horrible decoration to scare her. Lisa drives over within an hour and I explain what happened. Lisa looks at me like I'm completely insane and confirms that her mom has never owned a garden gnome in her entire life. Says her mom always thought they were tacky circus decorations and would never have one. Lisa pulls out her phone and shows me family photos from various holidays over the years. Every backyard shot shows the same garden, same rose bush, but no gnome anywhere. She says if her mom owned something she hated that much, the whole family would know about it because she'd complain constantly. But I watched her throw it away with my own eyes. I helped her steady the trash bag when it was tipping over because of the weight. The next week, Mrs. Chen moves out suddenly. She tells me she doesn't feel safe in the house anymore with strange things appearing overnight. She thinks someone is trying to drive her crazy. She moves in with Lisa across town and puts the house on the market immediately. A new family, the Johnsons, moves in 2 weeks later, and the first thing they do is knock on my door asking about the cute vintage gnome in the backyard. They're excited because they collect garden decorations and think it's a perfect addition to their yard. They say the previous owner left it behind along with some garden tools, and they love how it gives the space character. When I tell them Mrs. Chen hated that gnome and never owned one, they look confused and show me the house listing photos on their phone from the real estate website. In every single photo, that gnome is sitting in the exact same spot next to the rose bush. The realtor's description even mentions charming vintage garden gnome included with property as a selling point. The listing was posted 3 months before Mrs. Chen moved out. I called a realtor directly and she swears that gnome has been there for at least 5 years, says it was one of the main features buyers asked about because it gave the yard such charm. She has photos dating back to when Mrs. Chen first bought the house, and the gnome appears in all of them, same position, same everything. Mrs. Chen lived there for 12 years. I walked past that house almost daily for 8 of those years, listening to her complain about that stupid gnome. I know what I saw, I know what I heard, but apparently reality completely disagrees with me and everyone else's memories.